Welcome to Restaurant Influencers presented by Entrepreneur. My name is Sean Walchef, founder of Cali Barbecue and Cali Barbecue Media. I want to give a special shout out to Toast, our title sponsor for this show, for believing in smartphone storytelling. I'm so fired up for today's interview. For those of you that don't know, we spend a lot of time in this community, this podcasting community, on an app called Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is an incredible app because it's what we call deep social. It allows you to meet creators, business owners, and so much of what we do on this show is not just talk about restaurants, not just talking about influence, but we talk about what's happening in the creator economy. And in life, in the restaurant business, and in the creator economy, we learn through lessons and stories. And today we have Chef Ryan Peters of Peters Pasta. You can follow him at Peters Pasta on TikTok. 2.9 million followers, 99.5 million likes. So hopefully when this entrepreneur episode drops, he's going to be breaking 3 million and he's going to be breaking that 100 million mark. You can also find him at Ryan Peters PGH on Instagram. You can find him on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the platforms. Ryan, what up, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Sean? Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk with you today.
So we met on an app called Clubhouse, which I mentioned, and I want to go back to Clubhouse and tell me a little bit about. Actually, before we do that, our favorite random question, which is, where in the world is your favorite stadium, stage, or venue?
Stadium, stage, or venue? That's a tough question for me to answer. I'd probably say I'm partial to where the Pirates play here in Pittsburgh, PNC Park. In my
PNC Park.
opinion, it's like the most gorgeous place to watch a ball game. Like the city like opens up in the outfield. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. So PNC Park, we're going to convince Entrepreneur, we're going to convince Toast, Davo Sales Tax, Atmosphere. They're all sponsors of the show, but we're going to bring people together. And what we're trying to do is transform hospitality. You know, we're going to try to think bigger. And the people that are going to come to this event are not just restaurant owners, not just food entrepreneurs, but creators. We want people to understand that the creator economy is here. If you're a business owner, you have the opportunity to build a platform using a smartphone. We're going to fill the stadium with people that are playing the game within the game. So people that are really trying to level up. And I'm going to put you right on the pitcher's mound and I'm going to say, Ryan, 2 minutes. I need your 2-minute drill. Who are you and what do you do?
Who am I and what do I do? Yeah, so I am a chef turned full-time content creator. I started out as a young kid, always wanted to be a chef. Kind of all I've ever wanted to do was be around food. So I followed that path for a while, kind of went the traditional route of, going to culinary school and then just getting right into the industry, and spent some time working in the private club world and then restaurants and hotels and fine dining, and thought for a while my life was going to, steer towards that like Michelin, like best chef in the world. That's what I was chasing. I wanted to be, in that world. So I chased that for a while, fell in love with it. And then eventually my life shifted towards pasta, and I found this love for pasta and kind of got obsessed with it and shifted my career towards working in restaurants like that. And then ultimately it all kind of funneled into where I'm at now, which is just kind of being able to put myself out there on the internet and through social media and do what I love and share it now with millions versus just, maybe a couple hundred people every night in a restaurant. Now I'm, sharing what I love with millions every night around the world. So, it's kind of transformed into me building my own brand and making a name for myself through social media and being able to be a content creator full time and kind of just travel the country and make pasta and share it with the world.
When did you become a content creator full time?
I became a content creator full time. I left the restaurant I was at in, I think it was April of last year. So
Okay.
only about a year and a half full time, which is crazy to think about. I was doing it kind of like full time, but part time because I was still in the restaurant for about 2 years. Just kind of juggling both and kind of like working like crazy, working like a 12-hour shift and then coming home, making content, posting it, doing all the stuff. But eventually got to a point where it didn't make sense to be doing that simultaneously. So about a year and a half.
About a year and a half. So for those of you that are listening, I'm really excited about today's episode because we get to dive into TikTok, the platform, the opportunities that it provides. It's why we tell every restaurant owner, tell everyone that's in sales, even the people that are in marketing, everyone wants someone else to do it. But what you've done is you've built this platform, you've built this following. Now it's your full-time job. Bring me back to TikTok, bring me back to the first post. And I know I actually went back through, you've got a lot of videos, but I went back through, found the first post, and it's done really well, but I know that's because of your following now. So a lot of people have seen that video. Tell me about the first video. Why'd you get on TikTok?
Yeah, so I got on TikTok just kind of randomly. So I'd always enjoyed social media and content creation. I was never great at it, or at least had the response that I was looking for, but I enjoyed doing it and putting myself out there mainly through Instagram. And then in 2019, July of 2019, my younger brother and his girlfriend were visiting my wife and I, and he's younger than me. He was in college, and all they were talking about was TikTok, TikTok. And I'm like, what is this app, man? Like, this is dumb. He showed it to me. It's just, stupid, silly videos. But I ended up downloading it, and I decided to post a video of me just, I think it was rolling cavatelli on like a little gnocchi board. And that video got like 500,000 views in a day. And I was just like, holy shit, this is insane. I had never,
Yeah,
like, I was getting, like maybe 50 views in a day on Instagram, which was great. I was just ecstatic
sure.
about that.
50 is a
But so
lot
to
of
see
people.
something, yeah. So to see this though, it was like, man, this is insane. Um, but I also thought like, okay, maybe there was like a glitch. Like this did not just happen. Like I was at the casino maybe and I pulled the wrong thing and something like the bells and whistles were going off. I didn't believe that it was actually real. So I didn't actually like jump into it full steam ahead right away. I like kind of stayed away from it because I was like, I just got lucky. But then, as the weeks went by, I started posting a little bit more and I saw that there were like, real opportunities for my content on the platform, and it was relatively easy to do at the time. It was just like I was doing it with my phone at work or whatever at home. Like I wasn't setting anything up. I could film it in a couple seconds and just put it out there. So I kind of fell in love with the app of just the ease of connection that I was able to have with the audience. There was, zero barrier to entry. So July of 2019 was when I jumped on, and took me a couple of weeks, but then it kind of just became the go-to for me.
And then, so as you're making these videos, talk to me about, because it's short form video, and we call it smartphone storytelling because it covers all platforms. And one of the biggest troubles that I have when I'm talking to business owners or restaurant owners in particular is we see a logo or a name like TikTok or like Twitter or like Instagram. And we all have feelings. We have subjective feelings towards the platform. And really what the internet wants is authenticity. It wants storytelling, and it wants it in a short form, bite-sized content. TikTok has literally changed the game for social media, and it's allowed people to do what you're doing. You had a career in food as a chef, wanting to be a Michelin star chef, and now you're a full-time content creator that's only at the beginning of this global audience that you're building. Talk to me about the evolution of the videos of when you first started. First, for those that are listening, obviously we're going to put a link into the show notes. You guys got to go follow Peter's Pasta. It's absolutely one of my favorite TikTok accounts. But nonetheless, tell me about the actual videos themselves, the evolution of how did you change, because you have a very specific niche, but you
Yeah.
do some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was all very simple. I got really, I don't know if it's luck or what. Part of it, a lot of it's luck, but I would just post videos of the beginning stages of making pasta, of just me pouring the egg yolks into the flour or mixing the eggs, and people fell in love with it. Like, I mean, I was racking up views by the millions very, very fast. So it was a lot of that in the beginning, a lot of just, taking pasta out of the pasta extruder and cutting it. And, just these like almost satisfying type videos was a big part of my brand early on. And I'm thankful for that stage of my brand because like that built me up very, very fast. And, did a lot for my following. But since then, I've kind of evolved it into more, obviously now all the travel things of making pasta and all these kinds of crazy places with different teams and athletes and celebrities and all these things. It's kind of been an evolution, and I still see it. I still see, even though I'm coming up on 3 million followers, I look at my account as like still the very infant stages. There's still
Yep.
so much that I can do with my account because I've kind of taken it slowly with the evolution of it. Um, which, short term maybe was a downfall because maybe I wasn't capitalizing in the beginning. But I think long term, it now gives me the opportunity to kind of keep growing at this pace. I'm the type of person like I wasn't chasing that like super big spike. I was just looking for that nice steady grind, and I found it. And I found a formula that works for me.
Now, when you're looking at your videos, how do you judge yourself? Are you an
Meaning what?
analytics person? Are you looking at comments? Are you looking at engagement? How do you know what's working?
Yeah, I really try not to anymore. I used to be like really obsessed with the analytics and everything, and I would drive myself almost insane, trying to judge why, I could have videos that were very similar, but why did this one perform 10x than what this one did? But I found now, just kind of as I've grown as a creator, that, you know, if if you focus solely on these numbers and all these types of things, it can kind of steer you away from what the content is that you're actually trying to produce, and it can kind of put you in this direction of making it almost worse, like doing the opposite of what you're trying to do because you're focusing on things that are totally out of your control a lot of times because it's all these algorithms and things that we have no idea
Yep.
how they work. So I think at the end of the day, like if you're putting out good content, I'm a firm believer that the views are going to come regardless. So I've kind of shifted away from obsessing over these analytics and numbers and just trying to, on a more personal level, elevate my content to just be better than yesterday.
So one of the things that we hope to do with this show, and we're so grateful that entrepreneurs given us this platform to reach millions of people all over the world, is to inspire the people that work in the hospitality business to know that there are other ways to make money. There are other ways to supplement your income. Can you take me back to when you were a chef and you were also doing videos? How did you manage that, and what advice would you say to anybody that's listening to this, that's thinking about, hey, I do something really cool. Maybe I should start filming this, and where do I go next?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this first. It's not easy, like, to work. I mean,
Thank you.
everyone knows that works in the industry, like the food industry, the restaurant industry is extremely tough. No matter what level you're in, whether it's fast food, fast casual, fine dining, whatever, like it's a tough, tough lifestyle. Um, but with that said, like, I mean, if you can balance or at least get some sort of balance, maybe it's not one post a day, maybe it's one post a week. Anything is better than nothing, right? But I think I've had this conversation with a lot of peers in the industry where it's just kind of me trying to almost sell them on the creator lifestyle and everything. Maybe not to go full time, but like
Yes.
there's big opportunities out there that I see so many friends that I know, like maybe they're working at a burger joint, but I know that they love fermentation and making pickles at
Yes.
home. I'm like, yo, just like get on here and
Make a
post
pickle
it.
channel.
Yeah, like let's talk about it, and you can build a following that you'd be surprised that like
Yep.
people love pickles or whatever it may be. That like I got lucky with pasta, like that was my thing, and it translated very well, and I was able to kind of do it uh cohesively with working in restaurants. Again, it was like I was basically working two full-time jobs, but at some point I saw, you know, both financially and just on like a level of like where my brand could go, that like, okay, maybe this doesn't make sense to be doing both of these. Maybe I need to make this hard decision of maybe I need to jump out of the only industry I've ever known and make this leap because I see the opportunities that are there.
I mean, I love it, and I love your story because so many creators want to be business owners, and it's how do you make that leap? But now we have the opportunity, literally, with
Right.
all of these apps, with all of the things that we have available to us. The barrier to entry is gone. There is no
Yeah.
barrier to entry. It's literally
Yeah,
just the time that you want to put into the craft.
exactly. I mean, I tell this story a lot. So in early fall of 2020, I was doing great on TikTok. I had like maybe 2 or 300,000 followers, ecstatic about, but I was still working full time. I had no dreams or any even visions that this could be possible to do full time. I was, still planning on working in restaurants till I die. And at this time, my wife and I were expecting a child in the next like 2 or 3 months. In December of 2020, he was due. So I was freaking out as any, first time parent is about to do. Like my life's about to change. Um, and it kind of all happened almost at a perfect time. But in October of 2020, I posted a video, um, and I posted it at 9 o'clock at night. And at 11 o'clock, I went to bed and I checked it and it had 2 million views.
Wow.
And I remember saying, like, holy shit, like this one is, I've never had that, sort of traction that early. So I was like, man, this is wild. And I woke up to 12 million views on that video.
Wow.
And that was October of 2020. By the end of October, I went from 300,000 followers to a million. My son was born in November of 2020. I decided to take a month off from the restaurant I was the chef at. And during that month, I was still, obviously, I was, caring for my son, helping my
Mhm.
wife, but I was still able to make content at home. And it was at that moment that I realized, oh my God, like I can be at home with my family, still make a living because I was able to then make money doing this content while I was at
Yep.
home and still love to do what I get to do. That was at that moment that I realized, like, okay, this is a real business. This isn't just like a little fun little side thing. This is real, and I need to make the move. So it took me like 4 or 5 months from there to leave the restaurant just because I was terrified. There was
Sure.
a safety net. But I mean, it's the best thing I ever did.
That's awesome. Can you bring us back to the first brand deals? So the first time that somebody reached out to you, how did it go? What did you learn? And what's the evolution been like?
Yeah, there's been a lot of 'em. I don't even know if I know the specific one, but I know that I definitely undersold.
Yep.
Like a lot of creators do it. We don't know, like, especially like I think food creators specifically because we're not. I mean, I guess it's any genre, but we're just not creators, so we don't know this market. We don't know what our value is. Um, so I
Well,
undersold.
at the same time, brands don't know the value either.
Right,
They know
especially
they
on
need it.
TikTok
They know
too.
they want it, but they don't know
Right.
what the value is. Yeah.
Right. So, for me, for brand deals, it's been an evolution because I've never been the type of person to do many. That's just never really been my thing with my brand. So I started out and did a couple that were like maybe for like a couple $100 a piece, which was great. Again, this was when I was still working in restaurants. So I was like,
Yep.
man, this is great. Like, babe, we're going out to dinner on Saturday night if I get off. This is great. But then I've been able to kind of transition it into doing more strategic partnerships where it's like I'm not a fan of like the one-off, like, hey, post this video, send us the analytics, here's a check. I'd rather have like, okay, let's sign a 6-month contract and let's, set up long term. And because for me, like if I'm gonna do something with a brand, it's gotta be like everyone says, something I believe in, something I like, but like I want it to be something that my audience can get to know, like they
Sure.
almost like associate that brand with me. That's important for me because I think that as we build these communities, um, these brand partnerships are very, very valuable. I look at them as like a very valuable thing that if I'm going to attach my name to, and if this brand is going to attach their name to me, why not make this long term and why not like really build a true relationship?
Well, yeah, and it's also it can't be transactional. This isn't something where you talk about one type of pasta or one, something specific in one of your videos, and then all of a sudden that's going to lead to all these sales. What
Right.
actually has to happen is has to be this is why we work with this thing, and it's going to be integrated into the content in a natural way, not into an advertising, hey, buy this thing right now because it's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday special.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing is I think I've tried to even educate brands on this that want to look for that type of one-off thing. Like, there's going to be very little return for you. I don't think you
Yep.
understand how this works. Like, we need to make this a true partnership because you're not going to get the return you want. I'm not going to because the video is going to very underperform for me. So why not we like be more strategic and really build a true partnership and a true campaign for how we can implement this. That way, both of our audiences know that this is real, this is genuine, this isn't a little cash grab for me. This is a real thing.
So when you're dealing with now, have you done any outreach yourself?
Oh yeah.
Tell me how many times have you reached out?
A lot. So man, I haven't done it as much as I was, but I'd say
Yeah,
probably about
the
a year.
reverse funnel's happening now. People are
Yeah, so
reaching out to you. You have to
yeah, which
filter
I'm
those.
right, which I'm so grateful for. But in the beginning, especially like when I wanted to do all the different things with, teams and sports and all these different brands, I would literally go to a coffee shop every morning, basically Monday through Friday from 9 to 11. and I would just look up on LinkedIn, look up on Google, look up on tourism pages, and just cold email, cold call all these places.
Who
Literally, I
specifically,
mean,
in the companies were you reaching
anybody,
out to?
anybody. I would look up first, like I would go on LinkedIn first and look
LinkedIn's
up their like
amazing. For those
social.
of you that aren't
Oh,
using
I love it.
LinkedIn, it's just an unbelievable tool.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I would look up like whatever, let's use Walmart for example. I would search like Walmart social, Walmart marketing, Walmart digital. If I couldn't find anybody, I would connect with anybody I could
Yep.
at whatever the company was, and just intro myself, tell them what I'm trying to do. A lot of times they were like, no, whatever, or it didn't go anywhere. I never got a message back, but for every 1 out of 100 I did, there was usually a genuine conversation to be had, and usually it turned into something.
For every 1 out of 100, is that what you said?
I'd say that's probably a good.
Did
Yeah.
you guys hear that? 1 out of 100. So you have to be relentless. Like
Yeah,
if
I
you want
was.
this
Yeah.
in the beginning, if you want this as bad as we know that you want it, as bad as we wouldn't be here without Toast. We wouldn't be here without Atmosphere. We wouldn't be here without Dadvo. So, you have to be willing to put the time, the effort, the dedication in to prove that you're worth something. Talk to me about the stadiums, the professional teams, the opportunities. How many stadiums do you have? Do you have a list? Professional stadiums.
I
You
don't have a
don't.
list. It's a lot. It's a
A
lot.
lot
There's
of
a good point.
NFL teams, a lot of, I mean, your
Yeah,
page is
it's
full with incredible mascot content of you
yeah.
teaching a mascot how to make pasta.
Yeah, so that whole series kind of happened by luck. It was last year, in the summer of last year. I was, the pandemic was kind of opening up, things were happening again. And just like everyone else, I was sick of being at home. So I was like, man, I want to do something, because I had missed out, because a lot of my blow up on social was during the pandemic, when we weren't traveling, we weren't,
Yep.
collaborating. So I missed out on like all the really fun stuff that creators get to do during that time. So I was like, man, I want to do something. So I was fortunate. I already had relationships here in Pittsburgh with the Steelers and the Penguins. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, can I just come make pasta at your stadium? They were a little like weird. They were like, why? And I was like, just can I? It'd be fun.
Do they have TikTok accounts?
They do. Yeah,
All the professional sports teams now that you work with have TikTok accounts.
correct. Yeah,
Good.
everybody's all on there now.
Good.
So I did those two, and that was fun. And I got a couple teams that had commented on those ones, like, hey, like, just fun little engagement. But none of them had followed me at that point. I was like, man, I need something. And then I think one of the really early on ones was the Chicago Bears. They're like, hey, you want to come to? They had like a big like preseason like fan festival or whatever. And at this time, I wasn't getting like expenses covered. I wasn't getting paid nothing. And
Yeah.
I was like, I told my wife, I was like, babe, I was like,
This is an
I think I need to do
opportunity.
this.
Yep.
And she's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, are they paying you? I'm like, no. I was like, I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna drive there tomorrow. So I ended up driving
Right.
to.
Seriously, but it's so important for you to tell the story, because people don't get it. Like people expect that, you have hundreds of thousands, millions of followers, and all of a sudden you're going to get travel paid. You're going to get all these easy
Right.
content deals, long-term deals. No, this is an evolution.
Right. I had to
But
bet
you
on
have to
myself.
hop on the opportunity. If you believe in what you're doing, you knew that doing that would lead to all the other things. I mean, you probably didn't know at the
I
scale,
didn't
but
know.
yeah. So,
No, I
bring
had
me
no
back. Bring
idea.
me back to the wife. Talk to me about telling your wife, hey, I know you have
I mean, I told her,
small
and she,
son, but I've got to go
yeah,
to
I mean,
Soldier Field.
I'm a young family now, and she's like, "What do you mean? Like, are they flying you out?" I'm like, "No." I was like, "I'm gonna drive out there." She's like, "Where are you staying?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get out there." But I know, like, I was like, I had this feeling that I had to do this. Um, so I ended up driving out there, got a hotel, and then it actually was kind of funny. I forget how. I'll have to look back through, but I ended up connecting while I was out there with Benny the Bull from the Bulls and the Chicago White Sox. So I was able to bang out
Do you
three
remember how
huge
those
collabs.
happen?
I think just through TikTok.
Content.
I
It's
would,
all through
yeah,
content, right? Yeah.
all through content. I was like a savage on like trying to be early to like brands that I want, or teams that I wanted to work with, to their post, to comment, to try and comment
Yep.
early and get their attention. I would do whatever I could. And so I got both of their attentions, and so I was able to do the Bears, the White Sox, and the Bulls, just on a whim of a quick road trip out there. And then actually, I remember too, now that I think about it, I was driving back from Chicago to Pittsburgh, and I commented on the Detroit Lions TikTok while I was driving, like at a rest stop, and we ended up setting up me to come to their game in like 8 hours. So I
No
drove right
way.
to Detroit, stopped there, made pasta, didn't even stay for the full game, stayed for like 3 innings and then drove back to Pittsburgh. So kind of bet on myself, figured that hopefully like the Bears video would be enough, and then ended up getting like 4 really incredible things just by putting myself out there and betting on myself. And that's kind of when it really kind of spiraled out of control. And now all these teams were coming to me um, and wanted to be implemented into my content. And at this point now, it's yeah, kind of taken a spiral out of control.
So I'm going to ask you a very simple question, but
Sure.
why are the teams reaching out to you?
That's yeah, it's a great question. I get asked that a lot. I get asked all the time, why do these teams want to do something with you? You make pasta. And it's very simple. From the conversations I've had with all these teams and all these leagues, the NFL, the MLB, all these things, they're trying to grab this younger audience that they can't grab. These kids, this younger demographic does not want to watch live sports, but it can be as simple as if they're scrolling on TikTok and they see Peter's Pasta, who they love, making pasta with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, hey mom, can I get a Chiefs jersey? It was actually funny when I did the Kansas City Chiefs last December. We were setting up on the side of the field before the game. And I was cracking my eggs, separating the eggs. The cheerleaders were there, the mascot was there, and there was a stadium tour going on. And these kids screamed out, "Peter's Pasta, Peter's Pasta." And I
No
was like,
way.
man, this is really, really cool. Like, so it's been fun to kind of see that. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch, just being able to blend my audience with these teams and kind of just mesh them together. And it really works really seamlessly.
I mean, it's an incredible world that we're living in, here recording this in 2022, knowing that every business, every brand on earth, we all need content. We all need
Yep.
storytelling. We all need something for the attention. I mean, we're all, spending hours a day on the smartphone. And, if you make quality content and you collaborate in the right way, in an authentic way, then you can have these incredible opportunities. Can you talk
Right.
about the actual collaboration itself, the nitty gritty when you get down to collaborating with a team? You're agreeing to post a video on your channel and provide them a native video for their channel? How does that work?
It's different for every single one. Each one is
Mhm.
like very, very like it's almost case by case. I always offer to like
What's
give
the
them any
most
of my
successful? If a brand is listening right now, an entrepreneur, you put this on your website. If a brand wants to reach out to you, what's the most successful steps that they can, not just working with you, but any other food content creator that's successful? What's the best way for them to
meaning
approach
what
it?
exactly?
What's the best way for them to approach working with you?
I mean, I think that it's important to understand the platform that first that you want to work with whatever the creator is. I think like I'm a firm believer that TikTok is very different from in Instagram. I think that
Yep.
you can have more fun. You can have be a little edgier on TikTok. Um, so I think it's important one to make sure that your brand aligns with whatever the creator is. I think that some brands or teams or companies, whatever, kind of fall into certain categories with different creators. Um, but I think that just kind of being open, kind of letting the creator do the creating, right? Like I think that's very important. I've had some conversations with brands that they want to lead the way creatively, and it's like, listen, you're the one that reached out to me, and you want to do this collaboration because you see
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and you obviously see the value in that. So like, let me do that. Let me like just give me some trust. Um, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Like I'll be honest, like sometimes like these videos just like fall flat, but like it's okay. Like we can move on, we can try again, whatever. But I think just being open to that and letting these creators do what they do best, um, and just being able to implement yourself, being the brand into that content, and understanding the value proposition there, I think it's huge.
So I want to go back to Clubhouse, which we talked about in the beginning. I know that's how you and I met, was on Clubhouse, but as a creator that's trying to surround yourself with other people that are playing the game within the game, how do you continue to inspire yourself? How do you continue to ask questions of other people that are successful? Who do you surround yourself with? Who do you look up to?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. For me, like I've always been this like type of person where it's like with Clubhouse, for a great example. Like I spent so much time on there in the early days of it because I saw the value there. I saw that there were so many very, very smart people a lot smarter than me, that I could gain a lot of value from, and hopefully that I could give value to. So I think it's being able to recognize that. Um, for me, I think it's just being present on all these apps. Like I think that, you're not going to be able to connect with these people if you're not there yourself. So I think that we can all gain so much from just, engaging with each other. So I think for me, like I don't have like this like core group of like other creators that I'm like super close with. I live in Pittsburgh. There's nobody here in Pittsburgh really. I'm not in LA or anything, so I'm not fortunate like that. But I think
Hey,
just
you're on a global platform. I mean,
I
that's the
well, and
beautiful thing.
that is the
That's what we
beautiful
call
thing.
digital hospitality. I mean, no matter where you are on earth, if you're on the platform, if you're engaging, if you're contributing, you can find the communities that will help you grow.
Yeah, and I think, for me, it's been fun, like, as I'm doing things with all these different teams, I'm not shy to, like, really get to know the social teams. Like,
Yep.
I found that through all I've done over the past 3 years, the most valuable thing is the relationships of the people I've met along the way, because I found too, like, the whole, like, creator economy and just social, media economy is so small, just like the restaurant world. It's such a small industry that, like, you never know, like, the person on the Kansas City Chiefs now works for the, LA Rams or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just like if I build that strong relationship in the beginning, and just kind of be my genuine self and provide value, that you never know like down the road. And I'm starting to see it now that like even in the beginning too with the teams. Sorry to go back, but I chose to do a lot of the stuff, the collaborations for free.
Yep.
Because I saw it more as a relationship builder
Sure.
than just a quick cash grab. Um, and I've seen that now, doing those things, that first video for free, now it's kind of coming back around and they've seen the value from that first video. Now they want to do something more and integrate, a bigger campaign into their team, that now it's kind of paying off. So I think not being afraid to do those things for free too, was super valuable for me.
So I saw a post when you first had your son. Congratulations on the new boy. I'm a new dad myself. I have a
Amazing.
5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I guess we're always new dads, right? Every day is a new day of fatherhood. But I did want to bring you back because it's something that it's when we look at success, when we look at 3 million TikTok followers and all the brand deals and all the cool things that you're doing. Sometimes it's easy to forget the darkness, the tough times. I never met my father. I was raised by my grandfather. I saw your post on Father's Day. You never you have a strained relationship
Yeah.
with your
Oh yeah.
father. Can you
Yeah.
can you talk to me about fatherhood and what it means to be where you are and what you're trying to instill in your son?
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge part of my life. I mean, like you said, my father was never really a part of my life at all. And for me, becoming a dad was like a scary thing, because I felt that I had this huge responsibility to be what I didn't have. Like, a lot of dads that didn't have dads, feel that same way. So I felt that there was like a ton of pressure on me, and even more so because when my wife got pregnant, I was working in the restaurant industry, and I've seen so many of my peers that, not because they wanted to, but they weren't able to be around as much as they wanted to because of the demands of the industry, and that weighed on me a lot. And I was nervous for it, but I got lucky with being able to find the creator world that I did, because it's now allowed me, um, this opportunity to be a father in a way that I didn't expect, that I had hoped for, obviously, like maybe not like being a creator, but I had hoped to be able to be around for my son as much as I am. But I didn't think it was possible because all I had known was restaurants. So it's been a wild journey, but I'm super grateful for the opportunities I've had now, because I can be around whenever I want. If I want to take off a month, I can take off a month, and I can be here for his birthdays and for holidays and things that I had never thought would be possible. I'm used to working on Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and you know, not being able to take off when I get sick or whatever. So I think now I'm able to be around more and, like I said, just be the father that I never had.
It's awesome. When you're thinking about what you're building for 2023 and the places that you want to go, you say you're on a mission to make pasta wherever you can. Where do you want to make pasta?
Oh man. I I need to make an actual list because people ask me this all the time. At this point, it's hard for me to say because I found that nothing is off limits,
Yep.
which is crazy. I've made pasta on, I forget what floor, the top of the Empire State Building. I've made pasta on a cruise ship. Like, I made pasta inside of a Walmart, like things that I just never thought possible. I think that, yeah, I mean, nothing is really impossible. I really want to make pasta in Disney World. They've turned me down once. Hopefully we can
Disney
we can
World, if
get a,
you're listening, Disney
yeah,
World, let's get
that
Peter's
would be.
pasta
I'm not
at
even
Disney
like,
World.
oh, I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, I'd like to do Disney World. And yeah, just I think I want to check off every other stadium that I haven't been to yet. There's still quite a few I need to get to.
And these are
I
national
think just
stadiums. We're not even at international stadiums, right?
that's the thing. I've talked to a couple soccer teams. There's actually a soccer team in Ireland that they followed me last year, and they're like, "Hey, can you come do your like one of your videos here?" And I was like, "Listen, this one you need to cover the travel. I can't. I'm
Yes,
not gonna be able to do it."
absolutely.
And they weren't
Maybe
able to do it at the
Maybe
time.
Ryan Reynolds will get you out for his soccer club.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's still a lot of opportunity. I think traveling abroad and doing things, underneath the Eiffel Tower or whatever, just all these things that in the beginning I didn't think were possible, but at this point now, like I don't set limits to where I can go or what I can do because I found that just putting myself out there and believing in myself and trusting in who I am and what I do has gotten me very far and can only take me farther.
So let's break it down for somebody that's listening that's finally inspired to get on TikTok to start their account. If they own a restaurant, if they're a chef, they're in the hospitality business, they're like, okay, Ryan's got me convinced. I want to start. I want to dip my toes into the creator economy. Can you dip your toes in? Where do you start? And what's your advice?
I actually don't think you can really dip your toes in because, and I'll say it for this, I think that I've had this conversation with a lot of friends and friends with, small businesses and brands that want to, have a social media presence, and I help them and I do whatever I can to like help them succeed, but I can only do so much, right?
Yep.
Um, and they'll post whatever, they won't see like a lot of views at first, which is normal, like whatever, you just started an account, but they'll go a week. And then they'll call me or text me and be like, "Hey, yeah, this isn't working." I'm like, "You gave it a week. You gave it a week. Like this is
Yeah.
insane. Like you don't start working out and expect results in a week. Like
Correct.
you got to give it
Correct.
time." So I tell everyone like, get on post, but give it time. You need to really give it time because maybe after 30 days, 60 days, 100 days, you don't see anything, but maybe on day 101, that's the one that hits. So I think you really need to just like invest in yourself and not be afraid of the numbers. Don't even look at the numbers. Just create content, whether it's really incredible, highly produced content or content with your phone that you're filming in your bedroom, whatever it is. I think just putting yourself out there and not being afraid of the response you're going to get, but just believing in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing.
Love it. So every week on Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we do a digital hospitality room on Clubhouse. We've got an incredible community. If you guys are listening to this show, watching this show, please join us. Ryan comes into our rooms. He shares his knowledge. When his episode drops, we'll invite him in there to answer questions about TikTok and about pasta. But we give a shout out. So this week's shout out goes to at Jesse Turner. Jesse, he works for Lions Wood Banquet Furniture. So it doesn't matter what business you're in, literally designing furniture for the hospitality business. But he comes to the Clubhouse room, he shares his story, he talks about social media, trying to put out content, inspire his team to put out more content. So Jesse, this shout out's for you. Ryan, I want to give you an opportunity. This is for entrepreneur. I know you tend to work alone, but you can't do anything alone. So who do you want to shout out? Give them some love on entrepreneur.com.
Oh, man, there's a lot. There's a lot of people. Man, that's a tough one. I can't just shout out one person.
Okay, go ahead. Give me a couple. Top
Are we
of
talking
mind.
like people that have
Anybody.
anybody? Oh man. I mean, I think my wife first off for dealing with,
There you go. There you go.
I mean, it was a big risk for her too, because, we had just had a kid and, I had to leave the industry. So I think her, but I think just a lot of my friends, that in the industry that supported me. They don't have social presences, but they believe, like my buddy Pete, who was the owner of the restaurant that I was the pasta chef at, he was allowing me to like, I mean, some owners are, they don't support,
Yeah.
people that want to build their own brand, and he saw what I was doing, and supported it. I mean, I think
What's the
that's
name of his pasta shop?
so it's called Ironborn Pizza. They do Detroit style pizza, and then he brought me in
Ironborn
to kind of,
Pizza. Sweet.
yeah, to do pasta. And he's become a really good friend of mine over the years, and like I said, just supported me to build my brand. And like anybody, I remember when I quit, or when I gave my notice, I was like terrified, because it's just I always hated quitting a job, because I felt like I was letting someone down. But I just remember him being very supportive. He knew, I mean, he's like, I knew this was coming. He's like, I've been waiting for you to do this. So I think having someone like that in my life that I knew supported me and saw what I saw, that I saw that there was an opportunity, I think was huge.
Love that. Yeah. So if you're like Pete, I mean, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. No matter what, if you own a restaurant, you've got to support the people that are in your restaurant. You have no idea what kind of talents they have, and all we need is a smartphone. Literally all we need. So the more that, a host, a bartender, a server, a chef, a pit master, you name it, inspire them, allow them, give them space, because guess what? Everybody needs social media. And the more that you inspire creators within your restaurant in the hospitality business, the better off you're going to be. May give you an opportunity. What's your favorite quote?
Ooh,
Or something you live by, a mantra.
One of my favorite quotes is, so I actually grew up a Philadelphia Eagles fan, because I'm from out near Philly, and one of my still all-time favorite players was Brian Dawkins.
Yep.
And he has a quote. This isn't to the word, but it's something along the lines of, they say they say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And he goes on to say, he's like, well, I don't buy that. He's like, if you love what you do, you're going to work all day, all night, every day, just because it's like, if you do love what you do, like, it is work. Like,
Awesome.
and I believe that, so.
That's awesome. I love that. So if you guys want to reach out to me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the fun places. Ryan, where's the best place for people to follow you besides TikTok? Because everyone's homework assignment is to go follow Peter's Pasta. I'm sure it's going to be over 3 million by the time this episode drops. And who knows? I mean, the sky's the limit, Peter. I mean, what's going to happen, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting real close to 3 million, but I've also seen that, like, all it takes is that one video to catapult you a couple more 100,000. But yeah, besides TikTok, I think Instagram, I have a lot of fun on Instagram,
Cool.
at Ryan Peters PGH. I like to, post more like behind the scenes things of things that just wouldn't necessarily make sense for me on my TikTok channel, but still have a lot of fun on there.
All right, Ryan, Peter's Pasta. If this isn't the inspiration to start your TikTok account, I don't know what to do. Bringing the best of the best into the game. Thank you for being here, Ryan. Can't wait to see what stadium, international stadium, that you're going to be putting some pasta down. I'm sure you've got World Cups in your future. I'm sure you have Olympic stadiums. I mean, it's all going down.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for having me in the conversation.
You got it. Thank you, guys, and we'll catch you next week. And a special thank you to our title sponsor, Toast. Toast is the primary technology partner that we use at our restaurant, Cali Barbecue. It is also the primary technology partner that so many of the guests have shared with us on this show. People like Sam, the cooking guy, Stacy Poonkinney, Jeff Alexander. So many times the guests tell us that they're using Toast when we didn't even know that going into the interview. That is why we are so grateful that they sponsor this show. We want you to win. You that listen to this show, we want you to improve your digital hospitality. Toast is built for restaurants, and it's built for you. Toast is the restaurant-first platform that's built for your needs, whatever your size, concept, or ambitions. Improve your bottom line with a customizable platform that's easy to learn, use, and grow with. And it meets you where you are with all the right tools for your price point. If you have any questions about Toast, please DM me at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. I will get you the link to the right toast contact in your market. It's so important that if you listen to this show, that you win. We want you to be on this show eventually. Let us know that you heard the show, you heard about toast, you implemented toast, you did a toast unboxing in your restaurant. Talk to us about how you've impacted your village, your city, your community. Share your toast story with us. DM me today to learn more, and be sure to check out Toast.